You're so lucky. You're standing around in your pajamas or bathrobe, having another cup of coffee, and we're in here boring each other half to death.
You speak for yourself, Mort.
I am speaking for myself, Reed. I always do. But I don't know. Every time I see Reed, I think about Memorial Society. I joined one years ago when he started talking about them. And I lost a darn address, which I'll get from Reed after the show is over. And I need to keep it closer to my heart, which is going to quit one of these days in the not too distant future. But I think really that's the gist of what Reed says, and that I think about more and more often. And that is, we have to recognize that dying is a part of living. It's the end days. And at 85, I have to concede I'm probably past the end days. At least Reed would say so. But in any event, I'll catch up when I get home after the show today and do what I need to do. And I really strongly suggest that all of you make preparations for your final days right now. It's tough on the family. It's tough on you, but tougher on the family. Reed, thank you.
Thank you, Mort. Well said. Tough on the family because they got to make a decision now. We can't put Grandpa into just a wooden coffin. We've got to buy the $600 one with the brass on it, you know. And before you know it, you're running up $6,000 to $7,000 in funeral expenses before you know what hit you. And I'll tell you something. Funerals are expensive these days. As he mentioned, the funeral society, the Memorial Society is nationwide. Wherever you pass away, it's not expensive. In every area, there are some funeral directors who are members of it, who will agree to give you your funeral what amounts to almost half price. And if you want just simple cremation, for an instance, it runs about $900 in this district, and you will pay $1,800 to $2,000 for the same exact simple services if you don't belong to the Memorial Society. You want 6 white horses, could be $60,000, but if you belong to the Memorial Society, it'll only be $30,000, you know, the works. And there are a lot of expenses attached to funerals, guys. Don't kid yourself. You got to have the plot, you got to have the stone, you got to have the interment, you've got to have this, that, and the other thing. You've got to have storage, you've got to have cremation, embalming, whatever you want. It runs into big, big dollars. Memorial Society is expensive. It costs $20 for life. Yeah, $20 for life. And wherever you pass away. Oh, incidentally, it also includes all your family. Anybody in the family. For that $120. Say your Uncle Charlie passes away. You call the Memorial Society. They come pick up Uncle Charlie, and they do their thing, and Uncle Charlie comes back. Either is interred or is scattered, depending on what your wishes are for your loved ones, and half price. $20. Memorial Society, look it up on the web. The nearest one's in Buffalo, but they are connected. There's a funeral director right nearby here, Mayville, that is a member, and he takes care of you, half price. He doesn't like me to mention his name because all the other funeral directors don't like him because he agrees to do half-price funerals, you know. Memorial Society, wonderful organization, nationwide. A lot of people know about it. Enough said. Check your web and find out where the Memorial Society is, like Mort's going to do. And as Mort said, pre-plan your funeral. Don't make your poor relatives have to go through all this strain. Decide what you want done. Coffin, cremation, whatever. Prepay it. Put the dough right up front. It'll never cost you any more. And if the funeral director passes on, they have to pass it on to another director because this money's in trust and it's overseen by the government. Prepay it. And if you go in a nursing home, they can't take that money away. You've already got your site, you've got your plot, you've got your stone, everything's done. And another thing I think is really great, do a video. Do a videotape. It's easy to do a videotape. Anybody can do one, even with a camera. With a phone these days. Do a videotape. Say, now I'm gone, and I just wanted to say a few things here. Uncle Charlie's a rat. And I'm disinheriting Johnny, my son. Whatever you want to say. You want to praise people, you want to thank them, tell them how much you love them, how much you will miss them, and of course they will miss you. That's the hard part. As Rachel Carson said at one time, the other funerals are for the living, not the dead. All right, guys, enough said. Jeff is sitting here. Jeff Flanders from Mayville. It's a building association construction company up here in Chautauqua County. Well known, good work, and I do not recommend anybody on the air because you'll get something will go wrong and then you'll be after me, you know. You'll be waiting in the parking lot with tar and feathers. But I do hear they do pretty good work, so he's here to talk to you. He's going to give you a few tips. You need some work done. Don't just go in the yellow pages. Call up Johnny Skookskak, who lives in Cassadaga or wherever, and you never heard of before. You call and you notice he's in jail now. Jeff, you're on. Where are you from, Jeff?
I'm from Jamestown.
Jamestown? How, you lived there all your life? Or?
I'm a local resident, except for lived in Cincinnati for 6 or 7 years.
Gee, what took you to Cincinnati?
Well, I had a friend that I got him into the closet business, like the California closet, sort of a custom laminate closet systems, and he started the business, and I happened to be just floating out of Mayville one of my times. I've been off and on with him. I've been with him for 20 years, but at 3 different times. So
you have a little disagreement or something? You walk and then you come back after a while?
The former owner, Mr. Mayville, and I, every now and then, we were good friends, but our personalities clashed every once in a while, and I'd decide to walk away, and then I'd come back again. So. Yeah,
happens. Well, there really is a Mr. Mayville.
There is a Mr. Mayville.
No
he sold the business recently to Emmett Tempest, who's an architect, who's been with us for a couple of years. So. But Mr. Mayville still stops in to check on us and make sure we're carrying on in the right way.
Well, Mayville's easy to remember because one of the shark family, it's well known as a Mako shark.
Right.
And it's very simple, very similar, isn't it? Don't they do some real estate too?
They had a real estate entity, but they sold it to vacation properties. So that now the people that were with that are now with vacation properties.
So you're basically just construction and contracting, right?
Right.
And how long have you been in the business? Well, you've been with Mayville for 20 years, right?
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier today. I've been off and on probably 35 years I've been in the business.
So you know your stuff.
Well,
and you're probably about 45 now?
Yeah, I'm just about 45.
Yeah, I figured. And now, Chautauqua County is an interesting county. We have a lot of old housing here, especially Chautauqua.
A lot of old housing.
Now, Chautauqua is very, you're familiar with Chautauqua. I'm sure you
we
get some
do
work
probably 90% of our work inside the gate.
Will you wear a straw hat and the blue jeans and everything?
No.
I thought the Amish did everything over there. That's how you can get in free, though. Just wear a straw hat.
Is that right?
Blue jeans, yeah.
Well,
go through the market gate, you know. Yeah. But you got to do some work on somebody's house to get away with that legally. I have got 15 ways to get into Chautauqua free, though.
15?
15 ways. One is to be over 90. You know, if you're over 90, you're free.
I didn't know that. I have a ways to go.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Oh, you can be a preacher.
Yeah, I'm probably not going
right into universal life.
Make it on that one.
Right into universal life for $1. They'll make you a preacher. They'll ordain you through the air. No, there are a lot of ways to get in Chautauqua free, and the local folks should know that because it's a wonderful place. I'm sure you're quite aware of the programs they have there and everything. It's just incredible in the summer. At 2 months of action, it's just outrageous. It's just fantastic. It brings everybody into the county.
It is an amazing place.
Yeah.
And a big economic driver. At least for us it is.
Well, for everybody in the county, it brings thousands of people in around the lake who want to go to Chautauqua. And Chautauqua, of course, swells to what, about 5,000 people or something?
No, it's more like 20,000.
20,000?
Right.
It's just incredible. And you can live over there very cheap. You know, if you go to one of the church buildings, you can $200 or $300 a week at the Episcopalian church. I know that.
Right.
But you have to edge out all the ministers and the members of the church first. Then anything left over you can have. And actually, there is sometimes room in one of the different church houses, and those are very special, terrific. And you can go in free if you want to go to a religious service. And you realize that most churches have a religious service every day, one kind or another, even if it's a lecture.
That's right.
Yeah. And you can sing. They have the incredible chorus over there. It's the largest outside organ in the world, that organ there. That's incredible. At the amphitheater. What a place. You know, we don't know how blessed we are. And again, local folks can go in free whenever they feel like it. If you've got a friend there, you can go visit them. Just call your friend, say, I'm coming over, and that's it. They'll let you in for a while. Remember the press, you remember the fire department, if a police officer coming in. If you're Amish, you go in free because you're going to be doing work. You could go in free because you're going into contract, right?
I do in the summertime get in there for a few hours at a time. They like to know how long you're going to be there and what you're doing.
Right, and they don't really care. I'll go in and say, well, I'm going to visit Doug Spalding over there, who helps on the show occasionally, and his wonderful wife, Linda. He's got a gorgeous wife. He's such an old man. But at any rate, I go visit. I'll be over here about 8 hours, Doug, talking about the program. No problem. Good morning, caller. We already got a call. You want to?
Sure, let's.
Yeah, here you go. Good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting. What? Mort, he goes to sleep, and then he forgets what to do on the phone, and he hangs up on them. Oh well, we were chatting along. I was chatting along. See, this is my program. I do all the talking.
You're pretty good.
When I spoke to the company, I said, he doesn't have to worry about what to say. I'll do all the talking. Back to business. Now, you were telling us, me earlier, there are certain things to look out for. We'll start with that. When you're, say you decide you need your roof repaired, what do you do? What? Oh, he got the call back. You want to hang up again, Mort? He says no. Okay. Good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Good morning, Reed. How are you?
Well, wonderful.
My question is if Mr. Flanders would recommend having a single person do your house, or you get a single or different person for each job, and whether you would want someone or just another person, like if you wanted your buddy to do the electricity for you or something like that. I'll let him talk about that.
Well, if you're going to build a new home, or you're going to do a major remodel, I think probably the best way for you to accomplish that is to get hold of a reputable builder, somebody with character, somebody that you get along with, because it's usually a fairly long process, and it's a pretty intimate process actually as you work through the whole thing. So that person probably is going to be better equipped to coordinate all the sub-trades that are going to be in there doing the job. Not that you can't do some things on your own, but usually the continuity of the project will suffer a little bit if you're going to interject your own people, and it won't run as smoothly. So ideally the thing is to find somebody who is used to doing this sort of work and has a long history with a good stable of subcontractors that they use, and you'd want to know ahead of time, how much do they subcontract out and how much does their company actually do. Some people do it all. That's usually a small 1 or 2 man crew. But our company, for instance, we have a set group of subcontractors that we use, usually no more than 2 in any field, and they work with us all the time. And we're cost conscious, but it's more important that we have a strong relationship with them, and they know what we expect and we know what they expect.
So you have to keep an eye on them. You're the clerk of the works. In large projects, they have a clerk of the works who goes down there and checks to make sure everything's done, right?
Yeah, we got a couple guys that's their position, and I just wander around and find the mistakes if I can.
Okay, madam, does that answer your question? Okay, well, send me a stamped envelope, and I will send you $5 off at the Lakeview restaurant. It's a beautiful little restaurant, 2 restaurants actually. It's also the Docks. And they specialize in fish, and the other side steak and ribs and stuff. Wonderful stuff. Wonderful salad bar that'll kill you. Right across from the Town Village Museum, down at the foot of the hill, where that lighthouse is that Jesse gave us 1,000,000 years ago. You didn't like to be called Jess, because he says like Jesse James. He was our state senator.
Oh, Mr. President.
President Jesse. His son, speaking of funerals earlier, his son runs a funeral home, which my uncle owned for years. Powers Funeral Home is now the President's Funeral Home down in Jamestown.
Bruce Powers was your uncle?
He was my uncle, yeah.
Knew him well.
Yeah, well, there you go. So at any rate, guys, he suggests you get a team. You can get one person, I guess, but you may run into trouble with that one. You just don't go through the phone book. Up Chautauqua County, if you're a bum who hasn't got a job or anything, it doesn't work much, you call yourself a contractor. See,
we call them pickup truck contractors, right?
Well, in Ireland, every bum who doesn't do anything is a poet. See, but here they're contractors. But it